It started with a voice message barely 10 seconds long. "The West has delivered an ultimatum. ECOWAS has until Monday." No names, no details, just enough to freeze the blood in a man's veins. Can you imagine waking up to a message like that? You're sipping your morning tea, the sun casting golden light through your kitchen window, and then boom, the quiet illusion of peace is shattered. That's how it began for Ibrahim, a quiet diplomat stationed in Accra. Most knew him as soft-spoken, always calm, the kind of man who carried a folded book of poetry in his briefcase alongside encrypted memos. But beneath that gentle exterior, Ibrahim held a stubborn hope for Africa, a belief that unity, not division, could still win. The whispers about the AES alliance, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, had already turned into murmurs of resistance. And now, the West, through backdoor channels and closed-door meetings, had issued a chilling directive. Pressure ECOWAS, isolate the AES, break them before they grow bolder. And here's the thing. Most people in Ibrahim's position would have complied. Quietly. Efficiently. Because resisting power comes with a cost. But this is where the story begins to surprise you. Because instead of forwarding the ultimatum, Ibrahim made a different choice. He got in his dusty car and drove 6 hours north to Tamale, where an old friend lived, a woman named Mariama, a retired nurse turned community leader whose son had died in the Sahel during a joint regional peacekeeping mission. Ibrahim knew she'd see something the policymakers didn't. The human cost. He sat with her under a tree. No cameras, no aides, just 2 friends and a pot of hot millet porridge. "They think unity is a threat," he said, "but all I see is people trying to protect their homes, to hold on to dignity." Mariama looked him dead in the eyes. "Then don't let them turn your pen into a weapon. Use it like a torch." That one sentence lit a fire in Ibrahim. So instead of delivering the directive, he rewrote the memo. He softened its edges, added appeals to diplomacy, removed timelines, inserted pathways for dialogue. And before submitting it, he did one more thing that would forever change the course of this story. He hand-delivered a copy to a journalist. Not just any journalist. A rising voice named Awa, barely 27, with a podcast followed by students across the continent. Awa had once interviewed Ibrahim during a literacy initiative. He remembered her clarity, her raw compassion. He slid the sealed envelope across the cafe table, whispering, "What you do with this could shake everything, or save it." She hesitated. "Is this safe for you?" "No." He smiled gently. "But it's right." And this is the turning point, because that single envelope, that act of trust, exploded into the public consciousness like wildfire. Awa released the memo in a special podcast episode called "The Ultimatum They Won't Tell You About." She, read the lines with trembling conviction. She wept when she spoke of the pressure placed on sovereign nations to choose obedience over unity. She ended the episode with a question that hit hard. If this were your home, your people, your dignity, would you stay silent? Within hours, it spread. Across WhatsApp groups in Dakar, classrooms in Niamey, even to activists in New York, and students in Toronto. The narrative was changing. Not just of the AES alliance, but of what it meant to be African in a world where decisions were so often made for you, not with you. And here's where kindness did something extraordinary. When Ibrahim returned to his office the next morning, expecting consequences, he was greeted by silence. No reprimand, no suspension. Instead, an envelope lay on his desk. Inside was a single sheet of paper with a handwritten note. "I saw your signature on the revised draft. You were right. It's time we lead with courage. H." It was from the ECOWAS Secretary General. Later that week, Ibrahim was invited to a quiet gathering. Not a summit, not a press conference, just a circle of regional delegates in a modest hall in Ouagadougou. No microphones, no grand speeches, just stories. A woman from Mali spoke of her school being rebuilt. A young man from Niger shared how kindness from a stranger in Burkina Faso had helped him escape a militia zone. One after another, they shared not politics, but hope. And as the evening ended, one final speaker stood. It was Mariama. She looked around, her eyes tired but clear. "We will not let borrowed fear divide us," she said. "We are not enemies. We are brothers and sisters who forgot we could be kind to each other first, and strong together second." The room went still. And then came the applause, not thunderous, not performative, just genuine. Like the kind of applause you give when something inside you is healing. That night, Awa streamed a live update to her audience, tears in her eyes, voice shaking. "I saw it with my own eyes. We're not powerless. One man chose kindness. One woman amplified it. One room changed the story. This is our moment. And now, dear viewer, it's yours too, because this isn't just a story about geopolitics. It's about how a single act of kindness, reaching out instead of looking away, telling the truth instead of hiding it, can ripple across borders and hearts. So I ask you, what would you do if your voice could change something? Because maybe it can. If this story moved you, don't let it end here. Like the video, share it with someone who still believes in hope. Subscribe so we can keep telling stories that remind us what humanity can be. And in the comments, tell us, what's one act of kindness you've witnessed that gave you hope?